There was a time when I honestly believed journaling was just not going to be for me. I really thought that. I figured maybe journaling was for people who always knew what they were feeling. People who had the right words ready. People with neat handwriting. Organized thoughts. And some kind of natural gift for putting their life on paper. As you can see, I'm sitting here where I usually do my journaling at my computer desk, where I can look out, see the mountains and the wildlife and everything. This is my spot. This is where I come to every single morning, have my cappuccino, do my computer stuff, looking up email and all that kind of stuff. But this is also where I do my journaling with my favorite journal. For a long time, I thought if I sat down with a journal, one of two things would happen. Either I would have nothing to say, or I would feel awkward enough to shut the book and not touch it again for a week. And truthfully, that is pretty close to how it started. It felt forced. It felt unfamiliar. It felt like I was trying on something that belonged to somebody else. But over time, something changed. What started as a thing I was unsure about slowly became something I began to depend on. Chickens are crowing out there. And somewhere along the way, journaling stopped being just an idea and became part of my life. Now, it is not something I do because it sounds good. It's not something I do to be productive. It is not something I do because it looks creative or meaningful. I journal because I need to. I need a place to put my thoughts. I need a place to slow down. I need a place where life does not just rush by without me noticing it. And I think that matters even more now because of the kind of world we live in. Everything moves fast, too fast. You're supposed to keep up scrolling, keep reacting, keep moving, keep consuming, keep chasing the next thing. If you're not careful, your own life starts to feel like something you're just trying to keep up with instead of something you are actually living. That is one of the biggest gifts journaling has given me. It helps me live my life on purpose. It helps me stop long enough to actually notice what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what is weighing on me, and what still matters. Because the truth is, a lot of us carry around more than we admit. Stress, worry, frustration, regret, private thoughts we don't say out loud, quiet fears, the kind of mental noise that builds up over time until you do not even realize how heavy it has gotten. And sometimes just writing it down takes some of that weight off. Not because it fixes everything, not because one journal entry solves your whole life, but because it gives those thoughts somewhere to go, other than just circling in your head like buzzards over roadkill. That is the plain truth of it. Writing things down helps me see them more clearly. It helps me understand what is really bothering me. It helps me sort through what is important and what is just noise. And sometimes the most honest version of me shows up on paper better than it does anywhere else. Because paper is patient. It does not interrupt. It does not judge. It does not ask you to make your feelings sound polished. It just holds them. And for me, that has become a kind of peace. Now when I think about journaling, I cannot separate from living here in Oregon. The two go together for me so naturally that it's hard to talk about one without talking about the other. Because Oregon has changed me too. There is something about this place that makes reflection feel natural. The trees, the mountains, the rain, the smell in the air after a storm passes through, the quiet roads, the moody skies, the wildlife coming back onto the property, the way seasons feel real here. Oregon does not just look beautiful. It does something to you if you let it in. It slows you down. It asks you to notice things. It reminds you that not everything valuable has to be loud. Sometimes it is the smallest things that stay with you. A trail through the trees, a deer moving through the brush, turkeys out in the morning, the smell of warm earth, the changing color of the hills, that hush in the woods when the air feels still and the whole world seems to take a breath. Those are the kinds of moments that make me want to write, not because I'm trying to sound deep, not because every walk in the woods turns into some grand life lesson, because moments like that make me feel present. And when I feel present, I want to remember it. That is where worn paths and written pages really comes from. It's not just a channel name to me. It's not branding. It's not some polished slogan. I came up with it because it sounded nice. It is the truth of how I want to live. The worn paths are the places that shape me, the roads I travel, the trails I walk, hills, forests, pull-offs, back roads, quiet mornings, and ordinary places that end up meaning more than anybody else would know. And how I hold on to them. They are where I put the thoughts those places stir up in me. They are where I keep the feelings, the observations, the questions, the gratitude, the stress, the hope, all of it. Because life not only happens in the big moments. Most of life is made up of small moments, ordinary moments, moments that do not look important to anybody else, but still become the very things that make a life meaningful. And journaling helps me save those moments before they disappear. Because let's be honest, life has a bad habit of slipping by fast. The weeks run together, seasons change, you blink and a whole year is gone. And sometimes that is what bothers me most. Not just getting older, but realizing how easy it would be to forget pieces of my own life. If I ever stopped to write them down, journaling pushes back against that. It says this mattered. This was worth remembering. This is how I felt. This is what I was carrying. This is what gave me peace today. That matters to me. And it matters even more because my journaling is not just for the hard days. Yes, it helps with stress. Yes, it helps when my mind is crowded. Yes, it helps when I feel heavy, restless, overwhelmed, or just plain worn down. But it also helps me hold on to the good. A quiet morning with coffee. Quiet moment with coffee. A good day with Jackie. A walk outside. A hike, wildlife on the property, a thought that hit me out of nowhere, a moment that felt small at the time but turned out to mean something. These things deserve a place too, And when I write them down, they feel less temporary. They feel honored. That may sound simple, but I think simple things are often the ones people overlook. A man writing in a journal does not look all that impressive to most people. No flashing lights, no big production, no applause. But there is something solid about it, something old-fashioned in the best way. Just a man, his thoughts, a page, and enough honesty to put something real down in ink. I respect that. And the older I get, the more I find myself drawn to things that are real, things that last, things that do not depend on trends or noise or somebody else's approval. That is what journaling has become for me. Something real, something lasting. And maybe the most meaningful part of it is someday when I'm gone, these journals will still be here. That lands different with me now than it used to, because this is not only about me trying to sort through my thoughts. It is also about leaving something behind. Something true, something personal, something that says I was here. I noticed this life. I loved deeply. I struggled. I reflected. I paid attention. And more than that, it's about leaving something for Jackie. Not just photos, videos, scattered memories that get softer with time, but actual pages she can hold in her hands, words she can read, thoughts she can return to, a piece of my voice still here on paper. To me, that is one of the most powerful things about keeping a journal. It becomes more than a habit, more than a hobby, more than a notebook on a shelf. It becomes a record of a life that was truly lived. So when I say I once thought journaling was not for me, I mean it. I had no idea it would become this important. It would help me this much. I had no idea it would become one of the ways I stay grounded in my own life. But now I know better. Now I know that journaling helps me think, it helps me breathe, it helps me remember, it helps me calm down, it helps me understand myself, it helps me hold on to Oregon, the trails, the wildlife, the quiet, the stress, the healing, the beauty, the ordinary days, and the deeper meaning underneath all of it. It helps me live slower in a world that keeps pushing faster. And maybe that is really what this whole thing comes down to. Not perfection, performance, not pretending every day is profound, just presence. Just paying attention while life is actually happening. Just walking the worn paths and taking the time to write something true before the moment is gone. Because the paths may fade, the seasons will change, the years will keep moving, but the written pages remain. And to me, that is reason enough to keep going. Thanks for joining me. And have a great day. Enjoy the great outdoors.